Welcome to Growth Stories, Charlene.
Thank you, Martin.
I'm so pleased to have you here. You're an amazing, dynamic entrepreneur who runs a brewery, and you've got a passion for beer. It would be great for you to introduce yourself to the audience.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. My name is Charlene Lyons, and I'm the current CEO of Black Sheep Brewery.
So tell me, you didn't just arrive at Black Sheep. Um, what did Charlene do before Black Sheep, as well as juggling commerce and kinder and, children and a husband? What did you do before?
So my background is in consulting, so specifically around strategy, diversification, marketing, and I have my own consultancy business, Lyons Consultancy. And as part of my consultancy, I arrived at Black Sheep to do some consulting work, was quickly asked to join their board and then latterly become their CEO. So that's a very quick snapshot version of my career to date.
Wow. And, I know from here, you're heading up to where we're based with the Leeds at the moment, Torquay Leeds, and you're heading up to Masham. Now, that's a beautiful part of the world. Masham in the Yorkshire Dales, because I'm really poor at geography.
I'm pretty poor at geography too, and it is in the Yorkshire Dale, and it is the most beautiful part of the world. It's actually 50 minutes door to door, and it's a wonderful drive.
Wow. So you get to work in the most beautiful part of the world. You get to run a brewery. Tell us about Black Sheep and tell us about all the amazing things you're doing there.
So Black Sheep's an amazing company. It was founded 30 years ago by Paul Theakston. Really interesting heritage, really interesting backstory. And where we find ourselves today is almost kind of rebasing the business and trying to do things a little differently. So traditionally, we brew kind of core cask beer, but now given the changing landscape of what the world wants and what drinkers want, we're looking to do things a little bit differently. So we've got really exciting plans to launch different NPD products. We sell into supermarkets as much as we sell into local pubs and bars. We work with all the national pub groups, and we have just launched a new deal with Jet2. So our beer is now on flights nationally.
Wow. So I could sup my Yorkshire beer on a Yorkshire airline jet too.
You can indeed, even at 5 a.m, Martin.
I don't know why I put that accent on because I speak in a Yorkshire way anyway. But and you are I'm not sure that you're actually a Yorkshire girl because I think you're from the north.
Yeah, I'm actually a Geordie. I'm a token Yorkshire lass, as they call it. But no, I am a Geordie. I'm born and bred in Newcastle.
Well, I love a Jordan. I love Newcastle. I love meeting people from Newcastle. It's a great part of the world. But just give us some insight into what do you think sets Black Sheep apart from the competition? What makes Black Sheep not just the finest beer, but actually the finest company?
Really good question. So, firstly, we brew incredible beer and we are very, very, very focused on quality. And that is a very important part of our DNA. We don't scrimp on quality. We use the very best ingredients, the very best hops, the very best malt, and we brew in a really traditional, specific way. So quality is just unquestionably amazing. In terms of what sets us above, out the crowd, so to speak, for us, there are very few independent brewers left. A lot of the brewers have been taken over by the big companies, Heineken, etc., Carlsberg. Um, and we still have that independence and that regionality, which is really important. And a lot of our customers actually like that. They see that. We're also small enough to be able to react. So we have a very wide business strategy. So we pack in-house, we brew in-house, we do all of the core functions in-house. We don't have an outsource model apart from our wider haulage in terms of our deliveries. So we can actually react to the requirements in the market. And that does set us out, from the crowd. But fundamentally, we're about people. We're a people business. People are absolutely the most important part of who we are. And we employ amazing people to do incredible jobs.
Yeah, so that really leads me into the next question is really, how did you grow the team? And what tips can you give the audience in terms of, recruiting the best people and keeping the best people?
So recruitment's really difficult, especially now post-COVID. It's very much a candidate's market. There's a lot of jobs out there and lots of people are making very different choices to perhaps the choices that they would have made before. And many companies can't compete on salary alone because actually a lot of businesses don't have that available cash. But I think what people want more than ever is that flexibility, that hybrid, to feel part of something that's actually more worthwhile to them than just the zeros on their pay packet. So what we do is we opt for flexibility with home working, with children. We don't clock watch. I say to my staff all the time, I don't care if you're in or you're out, just do your job. We don't measure time, we measure input, we measure impact. And people know that, people recognize that. We also run a brewery, so it's a lot of fun and people want to be part of it. You know, if you can't have fun in a brewery, where can you have fun? And we very much focus on team nights out and making sure that people are part of a wider team. And we're looking to launch an awful lot of other initiatives now in terms of pathway success stories. So how can we grow and develop people in-house? And how can we partner with local businesses to offer things to the wider community, which actually has a wider value than the pound notes. So one of the things that we're looking to do is partner with local charities and gift our staff charity days to be able to go and paint a homeless shelter or volunteer in a hospice, because that's really fundamentally important to who we are as a business and where we sit in the community.
So, yeah, I mean, people is one of my number one passions, people and the customer. So obviously shares those values, and they are so important. But obviously to keep the wheels of the business running, the engine full of fuel, you need to win customers. And what's really interesting to the audience is, who are like, what were your biggest customer wins or your most memorable customer win? And that would be really interesting, and to give advice maybe to the audience around winning that customer, how you win it.
So fundamentally, and I know it's a bit of a corny phrase, but people buy people, and people react well to people. So we have a business where we sell through lots of different channels. We sell through the on trade, which is direct to pubs, and we also sell through the off trade, which is direct to big grocers. And going back probably 7 or 8 years, we didn't have a huge off trade and supermarket business. And one of the things that we did in order to change that was work really hard to develop a story and a brand and a profile that buyers in supermarkets really wanted. And actually the off trade business now is worth approximately 40% of our total, which is an amazing success story. And actually what we've done there is take what's really great about our product, about our company, about Yorkshire, about the heartland, and sell that story into the customers, which they've loved. So we are very much part of Tesco, Sainsbury's, Morrison's, Aldi, Asda, all of the big grocers. We have a place at their table, which is amazing. And that's also true of the big pub groups as well. People want Black Sheep on their bars because we are a fundamental brand that's driven by high quality and rich heritage. And there's a really amazing story that supports the Black Sheep pint. So I think the advice that I would give to people is actually just be true to yourself, know what your story is, and make sure that you've got the very best people at the table selling it in.
Amazing. So what, obviously business as usual, but what normally sets businesses apart and leaders apart is those decisions or ideas that they come up with are just game changing. So tell me, one or two of those decisions that you think you've made that have been transformational.
So one of the things that we did a few years ago was decide to invest and build an on-site packaging line. And that has absolutely been transformational for our business. We used to send all of our packing of all of our beer to a third party and pack off site, which was great and served a purpose for the first 26 years of the business. But actually having the flexibility of that packing ability in-house has actually fundamentally changed the way that we can react to customer requirements, the margins that we can make, and the way that we can process and pack beer. Also, being a couple of paces ahead. So some of the third-party packers actually stopped completely packing for people like Black Sheep because they were taken over by some of the very big companies. So if we hadn't have created the packaging line in-house, built it from scratch, we actually would be probably here telling a very different story. So the packaging line decision fundamentally saved us, because if we didn't have the ability to be able to pack, we would be in a position where we couldn't bottle beer and get it out there.
So that's obviously an incredible big change um, for Black Sheep. But in terms of your, personal journey, your own path that you took, what would you say has been the highlight of your career so far? And obviously, you're still only 32.
I wish I was 32, Martin.
But what would you say is the highlight of your career so far?
Okay, so I think it's a hard question, but also an easy question. And I think hard because I'm the kind of person that embraces every opportunity. So for me, I see a positive in everything. And I always make sure, I say to my kids every day, be the best you can be, make sure you achieve something, etc. And I very much live like that. So everything that I do, every job that I've done, I've always made sure that I've gained something from it. In terms of a highlight, and this is probably a really bad expression, but actually it was probably COVID, largely because it was a time like we will hopefully, for many reasons, never experience ever again. But what that did in our business was force change that needed to happen, number one. It created opportunity. It allowed us to think differently and grow differently and work and collaborate with people internally and externally to create the very best version of the business that we could. So actually the learning and the growth from the COVID period has been unbelievable. And it would probably take an average person in an average business in an average time, 10 or 15 years to gain that level of expertise and experience. And we obviously were forced into it. So 2 years.
And what do you think, the flip side, the things that, without giving any secrets away, is what keeps you awake at night, or what makes, you have a sleepless night? What are the things that prey on your mind?
Everything keeps me awake at night. I'm a terrible sleeper and I'm a massive worrier. I'm a control freak. I like to know everything. You run a business, you care about every single penny, every single person, every single process, every single system. And when you're running a business the size of Black Sheep, £20 million turnover business, that's quite a lot of worry. One of the things I've learned to do, and this would be great advice for many people, is delegate more, collaborate more, trust other people more. I still worry about that. And I think that's kind of on a professional level. And then on a personal level, I worry about everything. I stay awake thinking about all sorts of things that you can control and things that you can't. But work-wise, I think what I've learned over the period of time is that you can control the things that you control, and there are things that you absolutely can't. And as long as you're doing the very best that you can do and giving your absolute all, everything should really fit into place.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, Charlene. I can't wait. I'm a bit upset today because you've not brought the beer with.
Sorry.
Yeah, really bad. I mean, I don't know what flavour would I like the best.
What flavour? I don't know. Do you like cask beer? Do you like darks? Do you like blonde?
I like dark, and I like, did you do something like a Guinness lookalike, or is that?
We do dark beer. We do an amazing new craft range. We do
Right.
IPAs. We've just launched, actually, which is really exciting for us, our very first carbon neutral cask beer called Respire, which is available in loads of outlets. So I think you'd like that. Definitely look out for that. It's a good pint.
I'm looking forward to a complimentary can.
Don't you worry.
Okay. Anyway, we'll sign off by saying cheers.
Cheers.
And great to have you here, and look forward to seeing you shortly again. Thank you,
Thank
Charlene.
you. Thank you. Thanks for having me.